As you all know, Helen Zille is running for mayor of Joburg, which is huge, which I was like, yeah, I was kind of not in disbelief, but I was like, oh, damn, that's a huge move. And we'll get into why that's a huge thing. But so this is an interview that they had, and I just want you to listen and catch some of the important themes that come up here.
Service delivery on the ground, which is what local government is about.
Okay.
Bottom line. And to answer I'm answering still your callers because they're asking the good questions here.
You don't have to insult us into like
you're insulting me. I will insult
we're
you.
asking you good questions. We didn't insult you once. We're asking you good questions.
I want to tell
you don't have to get defensive.
I'm not defensive. I'm on the attack. I'm on the attack.
Because the first insult that was thrown was that none of us in this studio are asking good questions.
Well, you are.
You don't have to.
That's a fact.
This is going to be a partnership.
You don't have to be insulted by the facts.
This is going to be a partnership. We run Joburg as well as you.
I think you get. I think you get the point. Helen Zille is running for mayor of Johannesburg, which I'll pass it to you just now to get your thoughts. But just to give people context, Helen Zille is running for mayor. First of all, I think everyone should care about the Joburg mayoral race, unfortunately, which all of us, no one wants to care. We all don't want to care. Because it's all a lot, like there's a lot happening with these petty politics. But Joburg is the economic center of South Africa and actually maybe Africa. All of that, of the social dynamics of South Africa, they emerge from Johannesburg. So unfortunately, we have to care because whoever is control of Johannesburg has control of South Africa in many ways. And Helen Zille, as we know, she's a DA person. We associated with DA, with Cape Town. She lives in Cape Town. She's lived in Cape Town for a long time. On the interview, she said that she's qualified to run Joburg, which I'll address the qualification part because she is qualified. But she said that she can run Joburg even without living here now because she grew up in Joburg. I think she went to school in Joburg. Helen Zille is like 75 years old. Yo. So that was 50 years. We're going to keep electing very old people because they're the only ones running. So the Joburg mayoral race is very important because right now in Joburg, we have so many crises. And the GNU, so the GNU government, obviously, it's the ANC that's leading, and there's the DA, and there's Mkhonto weSizwe, and then there's Patriotic Alliance. So they are the people that are kind of ruling things in many ways. And in Joburg, we have a mayor. I think his name is Dada Morero, if I'm not mistaken. He's the worst mayor that Joburg has had. He had a thing. I couldn't believe that this was real. I thought they were framing him. I had to read the article myself. Last year in August, I remember when they were asking him about like Joburg and what he's gonna do, because it's like 2 years, because the local elections for mayor, I think we're gonna vote towards the end of 2026. So there's still a lot of time. And then it was like, no, things are so bad in Joburg and I don't have time that we shouldn't expect anything from him. Can you imagine a mayor saying that out loud, saying, don't expect anything from me?
That is so wild.
And then after that, we find out that because Johannesburg has a huge water issue, like water is always going out. It started because that's how it always starts. It's like a clash issue. It always starts in the poor areas and then it escalates and then it starts affecting the fancy areas now. It starts affecting the rich people where people can't do business because they don't have water. And then we found out when they were doing an audit that there's a 4 billion rand that just disappeared within this last year that was supposed to go to maintaining water, equipment and infrastructure and all of that just disappeared while we're having all of this crisis. So we're having the worst mayor, and the people that are running, last time I checked, the other parties hadn't announced who their candidates were. But I know, I don't think even ANC had announced. So the only people that I know personally is Helen Zille and the very unserious Kenny Gunene for the Patriotic Alliance, which he'll come up on the Madlanga Commission segment. It's just a very unserious race. But let me hear you first before I go, because I get frustrated by this stuff. Helen Zille is running for mayor. Tandiwe, how are you voting?
How? What's happened?
First question.
What's happened there? I mean, just listen to that snippet that you played with Anele. I mean, she sounds very defensive and also condescending. I mean, what is a good question?
Yep, exactly. So, not just that, she said you don't speak for black people when
it sounds like the moment where I go abalungu.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
when
yeah.
your white friend says to you that I'm not racist.
Yeah.
My best friend is black.
Yep.
So I mean, what
Yep.
the F
My Uber
is
driver
that
is black.
about the fact that you asking good questions? I mean, we should
Yeah.
ask whatever questions we want to ask.
Yeah.
You in the hot seat.
You here
answer
for
them.
exactly.
But before I get on to even Helen, right?
Yeah.
Just you touched a point on water. I
Right.
mean, us in the suburbs experience water cuts,
Yeah.
but there's some people who are going through serious
Yeah.
water issues
Right.
where it's not just their water has been cut for months, but the water that they get is filthy. So on delivery, if we just look at delivery in terms of Joburg, we've got a lot of issues, right? And it's so sad that the people in the suburbs only feel affected when it comes closer to them.
Agreed.
And it's like you have to realize whether there is the poor, the rich, the in the middle, it's a chain, and it's going to affect you at some point if you sit down and do nothing. Look at where the potholes are now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you were like,
The robots
in my
in 4 ways,
area,
in
it's
Bryanston.
not gonna, when load shedding was happening, you were like, we've got a minister that lives in the area. We don't get affected by, but eventually,
Right.
everybody gets affected. Guys, Helen Zille, why is she still given airtime?
It's so you know the sad thing about this.
I thought she left the DA.
She's still in the DA, though she did say that if it comes down to it, she would leave the DA to dedicate her time to be mayor, because I guess she is kind of becoming. I mean, she'll never be irrelevant in the DA. She's one of the more. Is there a more powerful woman politician in the last 20 years more than Helen Zille? She's like top of the food chain. And it is sad for
there
me.
was Patricia.
Not even close to Helen. Helen is the big dog. And with Helen, Helen for me, and I want to declare my bias first, so that everyone who's listening they don't find something else I said later and said, yeah, but don't take anything I say as objective. It's my opinion, so it's going to be filtered through my bias. Bias number one, I don't like Helen Zille. I think Helen Zille is a dishonest person in conversations. And of course, I don't know her personally. So I'm talking about Helen Zille, the politician, the one that I've been exposed to. I think she's very dishonest in conversations. And I have been seeing her run now as mayor. Every time she gets asked about an issue that has to do with the socio-cultural dynamics in South Africa, she gets very defensive, and she attacks whoever's. I saw her do the same thing to Sizwe Mpofu-Walsh, who's a very generous interviewer. Like, he was very nice to her, and then he just asked her one question about Gaza, and she just started falling apart. And I'm like, Helen, it's complicated because unfortunately the ANC has put us in a position where she is the most qualified in the race, which is horrific. She is the most qualified in the race, but she's also the same person that has tweeted defending apartheid, saying that things were better in apartheid than now. She's the same person that says that genocide is a big word to use for Gaza. She's really, when it comes to like a human perspective, those issues because if you're running for mayor, yes, we want water, yes, we want all of those things as service delivery. But at the same time, you are being elected as a leader. You are being elected in a country that's like South Africa. So I think anyone that is running for any political position in a country like South Africa, you can't try to separate the two, because that's Helen Zille's argument, and that's what a lot of the arguments that her supporters make. They're like, no, but she's going to restore water, she's going to restore electricity. It doesn't matter if she's a little racist. It doesn't matter if all of those things. It doesn't matter if she didn't walk back her comments that South Africa was better in the apartheid government, with her constantly saying, Joburg in his glory days, when I lived here. Remember, she lived here 50 years ago. What was happening in South Africa 50 years ago? Apartheid. So we can't separate that, and I think Helen Zille needs to realize that as much as she is qualified on paper, just as a politician based on her resume from Cape Town, we can also discuss that in Cape Town, because what makes us nervous as Joburg citizens is that Yes, she's qualified on paper, and in Joburg and in Cape Town, she do wonders for the city, but only for the areas that are consistent with her skin color. So that's another factor that we have to consider. It's not like she went to Kailicha and she made things better. She went to the Cape Flats and she made things better. It's just certain areas. So we have to be like, okay, maybe she will make things better in Sandton, but we should think about the people in Alex, the people in Tsakane where I'm from, the people in, because that whole place is Joburg. So if she's still at a place where she's not even ready to talk about the potential layers and the potential perception that people might have over black people. I mean, Anela was very direct. You can't be more direct than that, where Anela was like, yo, the perception of you is this. And she kindly answered the question, and that was a chance for her to address it maybe and say, you know, that was a long time. Like, whatever. The ANC has set the bar so low that we can forgive just say whatever. And she was like, no, you don't speak for black people. So if someone says anything, if a black person says something that is negative to her or that she perceives as negative, then she just dismisses as, oh no, that's just an outlier. Everyone else is fine. We saw what you did to Musi Maimane as well. We know Helen.
Yeah, so I mean, it does matter. Whatever little things that she has said that have been unfavorable to her track record, it matters. Absolutely. Because those little things add up to bigger things. Yeah. Right? So we can't wait for her to be in power.
For us to see and find out. For us
to be like, what did we do? So I've got one word for Helen.
Yeah.
Suka.
What?
Hamba.
But
stay where you are at.
A fair point that
bloom
people are
where you were planted.
Bloom where you. I've never heard that. That's great. That's chakra hunt dissing. I do want to ask, if not Helen, then who?
How? Wasn't Herman Mashaba doing a great job?
But he's not running. He's irrelevant to this because he's not. I guess we don't know who ANC is gonna put forward. But again, this is the ANC that is. No, not ANC. I don't want us to. I feel like we're in a weird relationship with the ANC. We know that from this commission that's happening, which we're going to talk about in a bit, that Gauteng, they've said Gauteng, even more than KZN, Gauteng and KZN are the organized crime hubs in South Africa. And whoever has control of Gauteng, that's who, I mean, it's in Gauteng where Vusiket Matlala, the biggest underworld boss, was being given blue lights and walking around like the police with his VIP service security company being given government stuff and government infrastructure for him to harass people. Crazy. So it does feel like things are a bit dangerous at the hands of the ANC in Johannesburg, because previously I thought it was just a few rotten apples. I don't know. I was so naive about the ANC. I was like, I haven't liked the ANC a long time, but I still thought there was a ceiling at some point to the corruption. But now I've realized that it is so bad. It's like international drug trade, kidnapping trade, insurance scams. It's so big and it's being enabled by politicians. They're in the pocket. It's so crazy that you can't separate the ANC from organized crime and drug trafficking, because the ANC was a banned party when they were still doing the good work back in the days. They were a banned party, and of course, to do the work that they did, you need a lot of money, you need a lot of funding. So a lot of them got involved with organized crime in order to fund the struggle. And this is not unique to South Africa. We see it all the time. We saw it with the Black Panthers in America, where a lot of them were involved with a lot of illicit trade in order to buy guns, to buy whatever equipment that they need to fight the government. And then the question becomes, when now the ANC was no longer banned, when democracy came, did those people leave that life or did they stay there? And all indications point that they didn't leave that life. And they've been in it so long that they like bosses. When you hear like their names and the way they come up and the way they've been coming up, you realize that these are not politicians that are bought, because that would almost be a good scenario where it's a corrupt politician that is being bought and we can remove them. But what if that corrupt politician is the actual boss? Is the actual crime? It gets crazy. So I get nervous about the ANC having access to so many things because I've seen what they've done. And I'm also nervous because the other candidate, very unserious candidate, is Kenny Gunene, who was, by the way, just if we're forgetting, how are we forgetting this? Kenny Gunene just a few weeks ago was found at the house when they went, was it the Hawks? that went to the house of the guy that is responsible for the murder of DJ somebody.
Sure.
Kenny Gunene was found in that house and he was questioned and there was no evidence and he was released. And then now, of course, Gayton McKenzie has been on a campaign saying he's been cleared of all charges. That's my friend. If the ANC doesn't reinstate him in whatever positions, we're going to withdraw the PA from the GNU. And the ANC did cave. And so I don't know what Gayton McKenzie has on them. I'm not going to speculate. So that's very unserious for me. I don't even want to consider them, which again leaves us with Helen. All roads, unfortunately, keep coming back to Helen Zille if we're talking about even basic functions. And that's unfortunate because I'm like, I don't ever see myself in life voting for Helen Zille.
But why?
But
guys?
if I'm on a ballot paper and I'm faced with Gayton McKenzie and his cronies, and I'm faced with one of the ANC, like the people, maybe if they bring back Herman Mashaba, we can have another conversation. We'll see the development. And you're faced with Helen Zille. Who do you go with in that?
So maybe just listen to you speak, Tula.
Right.
Maybe the mayors of the different provinces
Right.
should not belong to any political party.
Agreed. That's brilliant. I
think
fully agree with
maybe it needs to come into the law. And then speaking about the ANC
That won't happen,
and
no.
corruption,
Yeah.
right? So I am part of ANC from the liberation struggle.
Right.
By the time South Africa became a democratic country,
Yeah.
these people were old, but those were the
original-
real GOATs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The real goats.
Yeah. Who actually believed in something.
Yeah, and it wasn't about living in Sandton or in
And
the suburb,
mansions,
having
yeah.
a big house and a car.
Right.
They really were about the struggle and the freedom of the people and equal rights for the people. Especially, I mean, my grandparents were very much advocates for African education because Bantu education was so terrible.
Yeah.
So
And we're still seeing those
very
effects.
disturbing when Helen Zille says things like she wishes things went back to the way apartheid was.
Yeah.
There were a lot of things that were not okay.
Yeah. Well, most things were
Yeah.
only okay for
Yes.
the minority, the 9%.
Maybe the way they run things
Yeah.
felt orderly, but no.
I mean, it's easy to be orderly when you're only providing services to a small, tiny group of
You
people.
know?
Hospitals are not going to get overloaded if majority of the country, which is people of color, are not getting those services.
Yeah.
So it's easy for those people to be nostalgic about a past and service delivery when most of our parents weren't even benefiting from all of that. So we'll see. And my prediction is that Helen will win.
No,
That's my
she
prediction.
cannot win.
Helen Zille will.
Why? Who's voting for her?
Helen Zille does
Can't
not
it-
have
how
a
many-
competition.
Okay,
in this.
but how many white people are in this country?
Enough. But and the white people who have the money. They find the DA, bruh. Are we forgetting that the DA is the only party in South Africa that's giving the ANC a run for their money? The DA is the only, not even EFF, not even MK, nothing is close. If the ANC falls, which I think it might, like in maybe the next 2 elections, if it falls, the DA is good. The DA has been on a rise.
Really? Is it not MK that's leading?
No, it's ANC, it's DA very close, and then there's a significant gap, and then it's MK and EFF. The
Interesting.
DA is on a huge. I mean, they don't just have control; they have a lot of metros now. They have. Is it in the Eastern Cape? Nelson Mandela, whatever that metro is. They have a lot of. The DA is here. They are the biggest nuisance to the ANC.
Look,
So you can't underestimate
I mean,
the
they
DA.
work hard and
They are shrewd
They are
politicians.
knocking on everyone's door,
Then they're
right?
funding.
Because I get phone calls from the DA, and I'm like, why am I getting phone calls from the DA?
The DA
they
has
work
funding.
really hard.
Yeah, I do see them. Like I remember even last year when we were voting, when you go like you're on that long voting line, and of course each party has their stand, whatever. There's the ANC one. The ANC, of course, is the people with the yellow, whatever, and then there's the EFF, and then the TA. It's a very nice tent with a nice shade. You're like, oh, these people have funding.
They even give you fruit.
They give you food, like, and nice food, not just food. So not just KFC. So the DA has a lot of funding, so it can never be underestimated. And it's not just white people. I think you'd be surprised at how many black people are willing to elect Helen Zille, not because they don't know her past and the things that she's said and whatever, but because they like, because that's what we've been reduced to in South Africa. We've
She's
been
got
reduced
promise.
to not necessarily, not even that. That's even high.
Yeah.
Take it lower than that, because she's the least evil on the
really?
option. I think that's what we've been reduced to in South Africa, where when you vote, there isn't anything that is good. There's no like candidate that's actually, it's just you doing an inimanimo on who do you think will do less damage, the least damage. Damage is going to be done, but who's going to steal the least? Who's going to, I think that's unfortunately where we are.
Yeah, I wish we were like America. America, before elections happen, like a whole history of whoever
The people.
is. Yeah. And I actually wanted to do like a documentary on our different parties and their history and what's their track record, like the past year.
That would be good. You should do that.
What have they done?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's not just about all talk and everything that you are saying. It's what have you done?
Yeah. I think, unfortunate, I think for the bigger parties, there's going to be a lot of meat on that bone for your documentary. But I think my conspiracy theory is that whenever like voting is about to happen, you see a lot of these small parties start to emerge. Parties that, like you said, we don't know what they've done. They seem to have no history, but all of a sudden their posters are everywhere. Who's funding these parties? My theory is that I think they are intentionally trying to divide the vote, particularly the black vote, because I think there was a time where the ANC was so low. Even in the last election, the ANC had a historical fall. Like if they had to do the GNU, because for the first time ever, they didn't have the majority. So they couldn't lead the country alone. They had to partner with these smaller parties. There, of course, after that, if it's not the ANC, then we're going to look for the next best, which is either going to be the EFF or MK Party. I don't like MK Party. I don't understand what people see there. Maybe you like, I need convincing. It feels kind of backwards for me, MK Party in many ways. But anyways, so they know that we're going to go to those. And so all of a sudden we get very inundated with a large number of parties. Now Musa Maimane has a party and now he has a lot of money. And now this person, everyone is convinced that they can be president, instead of being like, okay, let's find, and if you really want to change the world as Utandiwe in politics, I wouldn't advise you to now, especially in the context of South Africa, to go start your own party. I would advise you to find whatever party that you think you can make a difference in and lock in there, unless, of course, you can't find.
But it depends the kind of image that party has. Look, Tula, the last election, what I noticed is that I had followed certain small parties by their actions for like a year.
Yeah.
And what I notice happens is that they work so hard to prove that they are the ones that can make a real positive change. By the time they get to parliament, it's all like,
they're just happy. I saw that with Gayton McKenzie.
Look at me, I'm at parliament. And then
they're not ready to fight.
And then I guess when they're at parliament, it's probably like your toxic environment type of office space.
And they get shell shocked.
Then you're part of it, and then people are like, listen here. Just because you made it here don't mean that you are there.
History, there's like 30 years of politics and history within.
Unfortunately, I think a lot of that happens where you like, I'm fighting for the people and look at my track record, and then you get to parliament and they put you in your place, burst your bubble, and you now no longer, you lose the vision.
Right. Because that actually happens a lot. Like a lot of these people that today are selling out the country, that today vote against our interest in parliament, were people that got there because they were like the biggest activists in their schools, they actually believed in whatever the thing is, and then they got there. It's either the politics broke them, because there are serious politics. But I still think that for the state that South Africa is in now, small parties are a lie. I really think small parties are important. For opposition, you need opposition. But I still think that they are a lie in terms of they give us false hope, because once in a while, you'll see when elections come up, there's going to be a new person that's just great. Vusi Tembagwa is going to run for election and be like, hi, I'm going to change. I'm the different one. I'm whatever. And then we're like, yeah, really, I didn't want to vote ANC or DA, whatever. They're all corrupt because we have a lot of history about them. So we know their corruption. Then we go to this person. Gandhi, this person, like you said, is going to get there. They don't have any structural power. I think there's a lot of structural knowledge and inner knowledge you need to have in parliament to make any kind of change.
And to be a leader, to make a real positive, you need backbone.
And experience.
Like real backbone.
Yeah.
That when they come with their bodyguards and their whatever, I won't be intimidated. I'm going to still fight for... You need a 1976 type of youth.
But to that point...
Situation where it's like... I will die for my country.
Yeah.
I don't care how many millions you put in my bank accounts.
Which, good luck for you. I absolutely have a sellout number. I don't want to lie. That's a wild statement. No matter how much you put in my account,
dude,
I think I have a number. Okay, let me ask you.
These days, money speaks.
What do you think is your number? Wait, take a second. Don't say it too quickly. What do you think? And I want it to be significant in that, not just for you to waste time in parliament, but for you, for example, not something as dark as you being involved with criminal organized crime, but for you, let's say you have a position as a minister of something and you have an opportunity to be like, you get whatever the number is, for you to just not act. Because that's what we'll get there, because I see that's the emerging trend that I'm seeing in this commission, that a lot of people are technically not guilty because they didn't actively do anything, but they're guilty by not doing anything. Where it's like, it's your job for you when this is happening for you to stop it. So you didn't stop it because you want to say, hey, I don't know, I didn't. But anyways, and I think they paid to do that. Do you think you have a number for you to sell out black people?
The thing is, for me, it's about character.
I'll take that as a yes. You have a number.
My character is I will do the right thing. If I am... For example, I'm in ministry right now, for you to get to that point, right?
Right.
You can't be like, okay, now I'm gonna, be shady. So for me to get to that point in politics, to be of influence.
No, but they don't do that. See, that's a very good point. Like what you're saying is very logical if things happened in a logical way. Because yes, ideally for you to get to a place of prominence where you even considered for running for something, there's a great track record you need to have. But that's not how things are happening because of funding and money. Like I said, these small parties, it's a random person that rises up within 2, 3, 4 years. That is now all of a sudden the main talk during election time when we don't know anything about this person. That's just about marketing and money and putting this person in front of people. So now it's not even about that. So say now you are in ministry right now and they're like, look, college for your kids covered.